Alright guys, Bitcoin just broke above this major trend line from the all-time high. And this is probably the pattern that most people are looking at right now and getting bullish. But the majority is wrong most of the time. Let me show you. So Bitcoin started pumping yesterday, actually mid-video, while I was talking about how I expect a bounce soon. We said there is a major level below at the CME gap and the anchored VWAP, plus the liquidity that was just above that level. But we also said it's not necessary that Bitcoin sweeps that level because bullish divergences had already formed on multiple timeframes. Let me show you. On the 1 hour RSI, price made a higher low, but the indicator made a lower low. On the 2 hour RSI, same thing right here. And on the 4 hour RSI as well. And it wasn't just the RSI, on the 2 hour MACD there was a bullish divergence as well. And on the 4 hour MACD same thing. So we had bullish divergences on 5 different time frames all lining up. I showed you those in the previous video and even in the video before that when they were already setting up. And another important thing I showed you is this chart right here. In 2026, Mondays brings the best returns for Bitcoin on average. And we said we can expect a move to the upside, and that's exactly what happened. Now it's true that this big of a pump wasn't my first choice. I was counting on another rejection somewhere below this high and a move lower, maybe to this liquidity level right here, where I said I would fire a new long position. But nevertheless, this is exactly why I told you I am not yet closing my longs from lower that I called in one of the previous videos, with an average entry of approximately $66,000. Because as you know, our main targets of the WXY correction are higher, and Bitcoin is getting close. But I did take some profits off the table here when Bitcoin swept the liquidity level just above $76,000. Now I have something very important to show you, but before that, if you guys are finding this helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Alright, let's get back to the video. So here's what I was expecting. We were talking about the B wave of the ABC move potentially ending up being deeper, but that's not what happened. So we gotta take what the market gave us and put the B wave here. Now according to this pattern, we are currently in the C wave of the final wave of the WXY. And because Bitcoin already made a higher high compared to the W wave, we could say that our WXY structure is already valid. And that means we were right about this pattern. But there are some targets higher that I want to show you. So let me take the fib extension and measure this whole move right here. We drag it from the bottom of the X wave up to the top of the A wave and then back down to where the B wave ended. And what you're going to see is that the one-to-one target falls at $79,400. And if we look right here, you can see that it aligns perfectly with this liquidity level. So that's definitely one to look for. Now another thing, if we put on the golden pocket right here, what you're going to see is that Bitcoin hit it to the exact dollar as it swapped this liquidity level at $76,000. So it swapped the liquidity, hit the golden pocket to the dollar and made a higher high, making this WXY correction already valid. So it would even make sense to try and short here in my opinion, with a very simple setup, invalidation slightly above the high right here. A tight stop loss because I do think we could still go higher from here. But the risk reward is there. And here's one more important thing. Bitcoin already broke above this trend line on the normal chart. But what if we turn on the log scale and move the trend line to the highs again? Now you'll see that Bitcoin still hasn't touched it on the log scale. And if you look a bit closer, it still hasn't hit the golden pocket on the log scale as well. And those two levels align quite nicely with the golden pocket sitting slightly under the trend line on the log scale. So even though Bitcoin broke the trend line on the normal chart, on the log scale there is still room to go before hitting it. And that area just below 70k could be the real resistance. So that's where we are. The WXY structure is already valid with Bitcoin making a higher high. I took some profit at $76,000. Still holding a part of my long from $66,000. The one-to-one target for the C wave is at $79,400 and it very well aligns with the liquidity there. On the log scale, the trend line and the golden pocket still haven't been hit. As always, this is not financial advice and manage your risk. Let me know in the comments what you guys think and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.